it?
I did.
For me, it was so, like, I like it. It was smooth, but I kept, like...
Yeah, they're all kind of a little twitchy. Yeah. But they're fun.
Pulling out of here, I was like, feeling, like, so goofy.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
What's going on, YouTube? Today I'm demoing the new Kawasaki Z650RS, the little brother to the Z900RS. Now, if you're familiar to my channel, you know that I stick with Harleys, but I figured it's good to venture outside of your interests to gain a better perspective on the world of motorcycles. It's a good way for me to learn and grow as a rider, and I can bring that to this channel. So keep that in mind as you watch this video, as I share my perspective from a Harley rider point of view on the new 2022 Z650RS. So starting out, this midweight Kawasaki comes in at about $9,000 MSRP and sports a 649cc parallel twin engine with a 180-degree crank. It shares the same engine as the Ninja 650 as well as the naked Z650. It delivers 67 horsepower at 8,000 RPM and 48 foot-pounds of torque. Now, these aren't market-leading figures by any means, but don't let that mislead you. This bike can absolutely deliver an ear-to-ear grin. During my test ride, I was pleased to find a really smooth delivery of power throughout the rev range. The power also felt very manageable, and there wasn't any choppiness as you pull the throttle. There was plenty of power down lower in the rev range to get you going, but the Z650RS felt more at home in the higher RPM range. There were moments in the test ride where we were really able to open it up, and I was surprised to find that the bike responded really well. The engine was really responsive and seemed to come alive when you push it through the RPMs. The best part of opening up the bike is the sound of the intake. It really does roar and adds to the overall thrill of the experience of riding this motorcycle. The engine overall was really smooth, making it a very comfortable riding experience. The Z650RS is just a very approachable bike when it comes to engine performance and power delivery. I think it's a great happy medium for new riders who are looking to get into a bike that, won't kill them right off the bat, but can learn and grow with over time, or experienced riders who want a fun bike to use for commuting or weekend rips around town. I think it's a good middle-of-the-road bike that has a little bit of something for everyone. The only downside to this engine was the sound of that parallel twin engine. It's the same exhaust note on the Z650 naked bike, but it just sounds really underwhelming, and to me doesn't quite suit the classic looks of this bike. The Z650 comes in at 412 pounds, which to me is a very lightweight bike. I found this bike extremely easy to ride, agile, and maneuverable. I think the lightweight nature of this bike also makes braking just really snappy. The Z650RS comes with twin disc brakes with Nissan calipers in the front and a single disc in the rear. The brakes didn't feel spongy at all and had a really nice bite. The only thing I didn't like in terms of handling was that I found this bike to be slightly top heavy, since you're really sitting on top of the bike, and I didn't feel as planted as I did on its counterpart, the naked Z650. Either way, I could totally see myself commuting in the city and cutting through traffic, or during weekends on the open roads and just mashing through the twisties. The ergonomics of this bike was surprisingly comfortable for me, coming in at 5'8". The seat height comes up to about 31.5 inches, and although I wasn't able to completely flat foot the bike, it wasn't unmanageable for me either. The bike sits you up rather high with upright handlebars, and so I wasn't putting a ton of pressure on my wrists or my back. It has a very natural seating posture and kind of forces you to use your core a little bit more, which is great. The cushy seat is also a really nice feature, and is better than most seats that I saw on the other Kawasaki models. The other Kawasaki models seem to have very thin, plasticky looking seats. The seat on the Z650RS had nice plush padding on the seat, which is definitely nice to have if you're going to take this bike on long rides. Now, if you're going to take this bike on long rides, however, just keep in mind it comes with a 3-gallon tank. And although Kawasaki says you can get up to about 165-mile range, I noticed that the average miles per gallon was about 50 according to my tachometer. Now let's talk about tech. The Z650RS is a stripped-back minimal bike, so it doesn't come with a whole lot of tech. What it does come with is ABS and a slipper clutch, but other than that, there aren't any riding modes or traction modes. But for a bike like this, you don't really need all that for a 650cc engine in my opinion. It does come with a really well executed dual gauge cockpit, however, with a nice readable display in the middle. There's a couple of buttons on the left and the right so you can toggle through the odometer, trip A, trip B, etc. And the digital display in the middle very clearly has a gear indicator, which is nice to have. I found that the speedometer was a little bit difficult to read because it felt very clustered and compact, but overall the cockpit felt very classy and with a perfect blend of modern and retro. Moving on to the styling, I feel like this is where the Z650RS really shines. This bike is a head turner for sure because it just looks so different than any other bike out there. The fit and finish on the Z650RS felt extremely premium, and the paint colors look flawless and unique. It's loud, but not annoyingly loud, if that makes sense. To me, this is one of the few retro-inspired motorcycles on the market that just nails that mix of modern and classic. The LED headlights and the turn signals look really premium as well, and is nicely matched with the gold rims. This bike just feels really well executed in terms of design aspect, with all the details very well thought out. Although some of us may not admit it, riding and buying a motorcycle is very much an emotional experience. And I have to say the Z650RS really surprised me as to how much I enjoyed this bike. The combination of killer design choices, the smooth handling coupled with more than adequate 650cc engine makes this bike a great value for anyone who's looking to get into a bike that oozes that cool factor. I personally wish I had a little bit more time to spend with this bike because I felt like as I was just getting comfortable with the bike, the demo came to an end. I think any rider, new or experienced, would have a lot of fun getting to know this bike and all the nuances that this bike has to offer. I'd love to have one of these bikes in my garage, but I don't know if I'd spend more time looking at this bike versus riding it since it looks so good. As a Harley/cruiser enthusiast, I figured I'd also weigh in with my perspective. If you've ever had any inclination to try out a Japanese bike, I don't think you can go wrong with the Z650RS. It's definitely priced lower than an Iron 83, which is mind-blowing to me, and if you wanted a bigger version, you can step up to the Z900RS, which is priced comparatively to the Iron 1200. It took some time getting used to the snappy nature of the sport-tuned engines, but I really enjoyed working out the engine through the entire rev range, which you normally don't get with Harleys or even Indians for that matter. You'll definitely enjoy the added lean angle to be able to throw around on the twisties, although for longer rides, you really can't beat a cruiser. Well, that's it for me today on this first impression of the Z650RS. I hope you all enjoyed it, and until next time, peace.